Deployed 6 months deep in the remote desert with no communication with the outside world. That is the reality of my new deployment at Site I-71. It was August 20 when the hysteria occurred that led to the lockdown of the base. Before this story begins, hit the like button and subscribe for more stories to keep you awake at night. On that fateful night, the sun had set, painting the sky a canvas of blood and fire. The once vibrant hues of orange and red now slowly faded into shades of deep purple and blue. The stars, so distant and yet so close, began to twinkle like tiny sparks of hope. The wind picked up, rustling the dry leaves and sending a shiver down my spine. I took one last deep breath before stepping into the darkness of the military base. My name is James and I am the new night sentry. As I walked briskly towards my post, my heart raced and my palms grew sweaty. The briefing had been clear. Keep an eye out for any unusual activity and report any strange occurrences immediately. But what exactly constituted as unusual or strange was left rather vague. The base itself was eerily silent, with only the faint hum of the security cameras and the distant howl of a coyote breaking the stillness. The low-hanging clouds cast an even darker shadow over the deserted landscape, and the only source of light came from the faint glow of the moon. As I took my seat in the dimly lit sentry box, I could not help but feel as if I were the only person alive in the world. I adjusted my uniform and checked my weapons, making sure everything was in order. The radio crackled to life, and my superior's voice filled the small confines of the box. Roger that, James. You are all clear for the night. If you need anything, don't hesitate to call. The static-filled silence that followed seemed to echo through my entire being. As the hours passed, my mind began to play tricks on me. Was that a shadow I saw darting across the perimeter? Or was it just a trick of the light? The wind picked up again, sending a chill down my spine. I told myself it was just the desert air, but I could not shake the feeling that something was off. I must have dozed off at some point, for when I opened my eyes again, it was pitch black. The only light came from the faint glow of the security monitors. My head felt fuzzy and disoriented. I tried to clear my thoughts, but the more I tried, the more distant reality seemed to slip away. A noise echoed through the base. A low, guttural growl that sent a shiver down my spine. I reached for the radio, my fingers trembling as I keyed the mic. Control. This is James. I'm reading an unknown contact, north of Tower 3. Repeat, unknown contact, in north of Tower 3. There was only static on the other end. The growl grew louder and closer. I gripped my weapon tightly, my heart pounding in my ears. Was it one of the animals from the briefing? Or was it something else entirely? I scanned the perimeter with my flashlight, but saw nothing but the endless desert. The growls seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end as I heard another sound, this time a faint click. It was the sound of metal sliding against metal. Whatever was out there, it was armed. My heart raced as I tried to radio in again, but the line was still dead. As the sounds grew louder, I realized that whatever it was heading straight for me. I took a deep breath and prepared myself for the confrontation, but as the figure emerged from the darkness, I was overcome with disbelief. It wasn't some wild animal or a stray soldier. It was me. My breath hitched in my throat as I realized what was happening. I had somehow blacked out, and now I was hallucinating. The stress of the situation had taken its toll on my mind. The growling sounds were just the echoes of my own voice, and the clicking noises were the sound of my own weapon against my holster. I was alone out here, and there was no one to save me from my own paranoid delusions. With a shaking hand, I reached up and touched my face, feeling the sweat and dirt from the long hours of duty. It was real. I was real. And I was the only one who could save myself from this nightmare. I took a deep breath, steadying my nerves, and radioed in for backup. The static on the line was deafening, but eventually a voice came through. This is Control. James, what's your status? I think I'm having a breakdown. I managed to stammer. I think I'm hallucinating. There's no one out here but me. Please, send someone to help me. There was a long pause before the voice on the other end responded. Roger that, James. We're sending medical assistance your way. Just stay put and wait for their arrival. As I waited for the medical team to arrive, the growling and clicking sounds continued in my head. I couldn't tell if they were real or just part of my delusion. I felt a desperate need to find something solid. Something real to hold on to. The desert around me seemed to stretch on forever, a vast unforgiving expanse of sand that threatened to consume me whole. When the medical team finally arrived, they were accompanied by a pair of soldiers. They took one look at me and immediately secured me to a stretcher. As they began to carry me away, I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see my hallucination lurking in the shadows. But there was nothing there, only the endless desert and the faint sound of my own voice echoing in my mind. The doctors examined me, running tests and administering drugs in an attempt to stabilize my condition. After hours of treatment, they finally declared that my hallucinations were a result of exhaustion, stress, and sensory deprivation. They assured me that it was a common occurrence among soldiers stationed in isolated outposts, and that with rest and time, would fully recover. As I lay in my bed, drifting in and out of consciousness, I couldn't help but wonder if what they had said was true. Maybe it was all just a hallucination. But deep down I knew that something had been out there, something I couldn't quite explain, and as much as I tried to convince myself otherwise, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was still out there, waiting for me, watching me,